Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I am Abe with MysticGenmara.com, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho. And tonight, at least that's when this is going live, I want to look at some of the exciting energy and events that are occurring in the skies above us. So I'm going to go over some of the celestial events that, when this goes live, have already occurred, and then go over some card readings and see how things play out for each of the elemental families. So, quick review on the basics. As I lose my place. A new moon, which is tonight, April 8th, is symbolizing a fresh start. A new beginning, planting seeds for the future. These can be really big, long-term plans, or they can be shorter 14 to 28 day cycles, working on next steps, building blocks towards the bigger things. But this is the night you start a lot of those processes. An eclipse is when the shadow of the Earth interferes with the light going from the sun to the moon. That's a lunar eclipse. The one that would have occurred earlier today is the moon interfering with the light from the sun, a solar eclipse. Energetically speaking, because that's what we do here, an eclipse will supercharge the effects of the lunar cycle. So if it's an eclipse during a full moon, it's going to enhance that energy. If it's a new moon, it's going to enhance the energy. This leads to some very spontaneous and at times unpredictable energies. This can be where God, Source, Divine, however you see that aspect, says, fine, if you don't want to listen, I'm shaking the snow globe. Go with the flow. That's the best advice you can get during these times, because once the flakes in the snow globe settle down, you're going to see that where you are is what you've been wanting to actually achieve. This can be removal of obstacles, removal of patterns, removing you from the situation because you get stuck in those loops. But things definitely get shaken up during eclipse and lunar cycles. This can be a very scary time, you could say, but it's also a time of amazingly powerful opportunities. The best idea at this point is to set intentions, make your prayers, let it go, and then flow with the magic and songs of the universe. It's interesting when you really can tap into that. Take some practice, not gonna lie. It's not something you're gonna wake up one day and be like, I can do this. No. But you can work towards it, and when you start to get into that flow state where you set your intentions, you make those prayers, and then you just release it. It is a very powerful experience. Now, down to brass tacks. The new moon in 2024 in April is in Aries. Of course, Aries is the zodiac that's dominating the skies. Fiery new beginnings. Tempers can be a little hot. My emotions tend to be a little bit more raw during this time. Creativity can be very high. If you are someone who's creative or sensitive, you'll notice that the strangest things are catching your attention, and they're showing up in a way that's more beautiful than normal. This tied into the solar eclipse on the same day in at least part of the world. Triggers new changes and opportunities that are not being offered. Most of the energy here is being very forcefully put on you. You kind of just, again, go with the flow. And like I said earlier, this is the universal mind being done with not taking actions or not taking provided opportunities and options beforehand. Now it's like you have the goal, you have this list of opportunities, you're not picking one, so we're just going to put you ahead of things and put you on the path because your goal's up there. You already know that, but you're hemming and hawing over this one spot, and the universe is like, we're done here, moving on. And it can be stressful, but the outcome after the fact tends to be exactly what it is you've been looking for. There are some variables, there always are, and those come in as, are you willing to make the changes? Because you can set the greatest intentions in the world, but if you sit there and be like, every time the universe opens a door, you slam it, eventually you're not going to get the opportunities anymore. And that happens. It's fine. You're human. We all are. But when we're talking on these bigger planetary celestial fields, things can be a little bit intense. So, don't be surprised, though, by new things that are popping up in your life. This energy is going to be pretty cool overall. Lots of things are opening up if you're looking for the new stuff. There's a lot of options. And again, the universe is going to kind of direct you if you're not making steps actively. So, like I said, go with the flow. Just take a deep breath, ground, focus, because the end game, the end goal is what you need to be sticking to, because the steps from where you're at now to your goal, the next month or so are going to be a little interesting. So, with Aries energy firing things up, getting everything started, everything moving in the right direction, just remember grounding. Take your shoes off when you get home, leave them at the door, take a magnesium bath, things like that to help. Epsom salts if you prefer. But keep the energy settling down, deep breathing, meditation, because this energy is going to challenge your sense of independence and individuality. Are you ready to make those next steps? Are you willing to step away from the crowd? It takes courage to be your authentic self. Connect in with your guides and guardians, your higher self, and the divine, to dive deeper into who you really are. There's always more to learn. You're never going to know all the fascinating, wonderful things about the person watching this video until basically you pass over to the other side, and then you'll be like, oh. But you're not there yet. You're still here. So this is a really good time to tap into that energy, because a lot of different veils are being adjusted, shifted, thinned just because of this energy. We're also moving very rapidly towards Beltane, which is the opposite of Samhain, so you still have a veil thinning. So there's some very, very interesting dynamics at play right now. Keynotes. These are some big important takeaways as we go through this time period. At the time you're watching this video, the eclipse has already occurred. And there's some things that we're going to talk about here in a second, but the eclipse is already over by the time you're watching this. Be gentle and flow. Move with the magic of the universe. There is a song that underlies the universe, and it is a dance that you could only hear when you're quiet. So be gentle and flow. Don't make any huge decisions. Don't make any rash decisions. This particular energy is about new ideas and opportunities coming to you. This is the universe saying, we're done here. I'm going to fix this, because you have a goal, you have a desire, you have things you've been planning on. This is the time where the universe just kind of makes the magic happen, which some people say miraculous, some people just say it's the obvious next step, but it's not something that you're doing. You are flowing with this energy. So again, don't make the big decisions, let them come to you. Look at your options as they come. Give it a day or two, or 3. Maybe even wait till the weekend. And make sure that the options that are coming are in line with your goal. The opportunities are in sync with what you're searching for, what you're striving for, the thing that you're trying to create. Make sure those are all lined up. If something happens to leave your life during this period of the eclipse, because this eclipse and new moon and comet cycle, we'll get into that, there's a lot going on here. So let things go. If the divine is saying you no longer need this particular thing, it's all right, let it flow out. It's not a big deal. So, I mentioned a comet, so now we're getting into that. We'll start with the boring, science-y stuff first. This comet has a less scary name because what the name everyone calls it is the Devil's Comet. There's a reason for that. But its less scary, more science-y name is the 12 P Bones-Brooks Comet. It has similar path to Halley's Comet. This particular little devil, though, only visits every 71.2 years, slightly shorter time than Halley's, I believe. It was first recorded and observed in 1812 to modern time. But it was forgotten and then rediscovered again in 1883. Look at that, 71 and a half years later. And this is where the name comes from. Jean-Louis Pons was in 1812, and William Brooks was in 1883. The devil is estimated to be bigger than Mount Everest from light projections and all that stuff, coming in at an estimated 10.5 to 20 miles wide. So if it smacks us, we're doomed. That's a hefty chunk of space, ice, and debris. And that's a rough estimate, by the way. We're not getting into, this is exact. No one's been to it. No one's walked around on it. We don't know. That's the rough estimate. So why do they call this comet the devil? Well, it randomly burps gas and dust. All the comets do it. That's how they get their beautiful tails. This one, though, when it does it, increases its brightness significantly. Reflective surfaces, it could be an internal brightness. They're not really sure, it just gets really super bright when it does one of these little burps. The burp debris flows out of this particular comet with a fair amount of illumination, especially since the main comet itself is really, really dark. I was looking for some good pictures. They're questionable at best because we haven't seen it in, 70 years. So it has a much darker image, though, from what I could see, but the two horn-like streams of light coming out of it make it look like a little horn. And it burps when it gets closer to the sun, so it's got this beautiful, if you could see it in the night sky or even in the daytime, you'd see the strings coming off of it in two strands like little horns. And according to these, scientist people, it doesn't threaten us physically. We'll see. It is coming relatively close to Earth, but not as close as even Venus is. So it's not coming within our lunar orbit. It's like staying out there a ways. And that's a good thing, considering its size. According to the big people, it will reach its full zenith in early June-ish. But due to the eclipse, it may be visible, and if you were out looking at the eclipse, especially if you were somewhere where you could see it in full, you might have noticed, especially if you're in the northern hemisphere, there was a little devil buzzing around the eclipse. Slowly. I mean, it's this thing is moving very fast in space, but to us, it's like creeping. So, it apparently will come over the northern hemisphere first. It started showing up in our visible spectrum, I believe mid-March. Right now, it's very visible during the daytime if you have ways to look at not the sun, but around the area of where the sun is. And it's going to be leaving here, going into the southern hemisphere around the first part of May, and then it'll be visible until it reaches its peak, I guess you would say, in June. And then it's going to head out until 2095 or so. This is going to be interesting because you're hearing me talk about from north to south. All of our planets are on a plane. Comets do not flow through that plane. They do these. So you've got our plane with all of our planets here, give or take. But then you have the comet coming in like this. So that's why I'm saying you'll see it in the north, then you'll see it in the south, and then toodaloo. So that's the basics of the science. not really fun. I mean, it is actually. I love comets, they're fascinating. But time to get into the metaphysical or the woo-woo world. Comets have been thought to be portents of death, evil, war, epidemics. I think he's a little late on this one. And crazy weather, disasters, man-made and natural. They cause people to go crazier than normal, as well as many other nightmare scenarios through history have been blamed on comets. And it's weird because when you start digging into it, there's only a handful of comets that they actually see as good comets. All the rest of them are like, evil. A comet can be a sign of astral purification, though. When they come in, things get shook up, but there is a releasing of deep-seated issues. A clearing out of things that are not working, planetarily, personally, celestially, and these can be very powerful times, which is great because they're once every 70 years is enough, and they're especially tied to eclipses and new moons. So when they're tied to eclipses and new moons, basically you have a trifecta of exceptionally powerful celestial occurrences. Hold on to your hats, boys and girls, because it can be a little rough. The Devil's Comet came into our solar system in Pisces. That was a minute ago. It's traveling through Aries, where it's at right now. It will, as it goes into the southern hemisphere, travel into Taurus. And by the end of Taurus, first part of Gemini will be launching itself back into space. So the primary actors, the people who are going to be probably the most impacted by this, are Pisces, water, Aries, fire, and Taurus, earth. It's really not fair, but air has been kind of left out of this particular cycle of chaos. So, if you're an air sign, you're lucky. With it coming in on Pisces, it is signaling the end of an era, the end of a cycle, the end of a pattern. He's coming in, the Devil Comet is coming in to basically shove everything out of the way. It's over, it's done, toodles. It's firing up because its active portion is primarily in Aries, these new and powerful changes that can cause emotions to go every which direction. And for those of you that work in retail or around the public a lot, you'll notice probably for the last 2 weeks, things have been different. Energy's a little bit more grumpy. Instead of being moderate, they're like spiky. A lot of intensity has been going on the last few weeks. So this is why. When it moves into the more stable, healing energy, though, towards Taurus as it's leaving, it's basically saying, I'm cleaning things out, I'm inspiring you, I'm challenging you, I'm pushing you, and then as I leave, I'm taking all the stuff that's not working with me, I'm leaving you a little bit more stable. So over the next month or so, there can be great releases, there can be great shifting of energy, and that's going to lead to more stable energy in general. Does that mean it's going to reflect physically? Probably not. Just looking at this particular comet's history. But this is the basic journey of what this comet is doing this cycle. The comet indicates the issues with polarization and conflict. It's actually bringing those to light. It's pushing things forward. I personally try to avoid the mainstream news. I find it obnoxious, and I'm not going to get into all that. But what I will say is if you have been paying attention to the news cycle starting on, we'll give or take around March 1st, February 29th, 8th or 9th, something like that, till now, there's been a lot of things happening, a lot of secrets being revealed, a lot of dark doors being opened to the light of day. Kind of like releasing some shadows. Then it moves into this liberating the soul and mind from the control of lesser energies. You're shining lights on things, you're revealing things that need to be cleaned, cleared, and released. Sometimes it's clean, cleared, and pushed away. And as I mentioned in the fall, if you've watched any of my fall stuff about the eclipse pause, when Saturn was allowing us to shift, change, and adjust patterns for the next several years or so, this time after this eclipse energy reset, right now, that's where we're at. We're at the time of post pattern reset. Not always easy. So now these new and improved patterns we've been wanting, meditating on, working on, setting affirmations for, they have been brought in, set, and adjusted into our energy field, which is leaving us, for the most part, feeling inspired, improved, fired up, ready for things to get better and move forward. Just because it's in your energy field doesn't mean it's going to happen overnight. It could. Doesn't mean it's going to. But there's some things that have to happen to bring everything together again. And that's what this comet is really starting to inspire and work on for us. The Devil Comet, though this is some of its not so pleasant history and why it kind of has one of its nicknames, or one of the reasons it has its nickname. It's tied to natural disasters and war. The War of 1812 was during the Pons era, and this coincided with fairly large earthquakes in the Mississippi Valley the same year, and there's a lot of speculation that the comet came through and triggered. Others say that it was the comet was basically coming in and shifted our the planet's energy, and that's what triggered it. But basically, these two things are together. There have been several earthquakes in the last few days. As of this recording, especially if you've been, again, keeping your finger on the pulse, not so much watching it, the amount of earthquakes that have occurred in the last, again, end of February, first part of March, the Pisces season, was kind of surprising, and there's been a buildup. And this is kind of where things are, it's like it's squeezing up, and this is where the pop is going to occur, is during this trifecta of energy. This particular one was also a sign of a massive volcano that erupted in the early 1880s. Interesting. 1883 was when he came around last. This eruption took out over 36,000 people, which led to some very interesting environmental issues for multiple years after its eruption, but it coincided with good old Devil Comet coming through. After that, it made its appearance in 1954. There were massive floods in parts of China. Hurricanes were severely worse, was one of the phrases I saw, in the Atlantic. There was a lot more of them, and they were reaching very, very powerful levels that same year. Sounds like a lot of fun, right? So with this little ball of chaos coming out on the winds of Aries, this could lead to some powerful, unpleasant, possibly conflicts. These could be between countries, between businesses, people, could be a combination of all three. It's a little bit of chaos, but sometimes chaos is needed for growth. The thing is, though, is this is not all doom and gloom. I'm making it a little more dramatic than needed. It's a gigantic wake-up call. You know, these old triangles that you'd see the ranchers ding. You can hear those things for a mile. I'm not kidding. I've been around them for years. Basically, this is, we need to get our individual houses and souls in order so that we can break the destructive patterns, whether that is overeating, sleeping, gossiping, whatever it may be, the pattern in your life that you see you don't like. It could be self-sabotage, it could be self-doubt. There's a lot of them that are there, but this is a time where we can start to step up and break them. We have the independence, we have that individuality being emphasized in Aries. The new moon is saying, fix it. The solar eclipse is saying, I'm boosting whatever your intentions are. Just be ready for the outcome. And you have the devil's comet coming in saying, I am cleaning house, ready or not. What do you want to let go of? Let it go. Give it away. You don't need to have some of the patterns, those habits that are not the greatest. Just like the devil in the tarot, it means the challenger, the contrarian, the one who pushes against you, making you stand up, making you strong, making you grow. It can be thought of as your shadow. The things that are buried are coming to the surface at this time to be cleared out. It could be a little, it could be a lot. Me personally, there's a lot of things boiling up, a lot of things that I thought I dealt with, but you know how things work. But there's also been some very interesting opportunities that are starting to pop up. I don't know how to feel about either of them, so I'm just going to step back and see what happens. I have specific goals that I'm aiming for. And there's two of these opportunities have came up out of nowhere. Like, these were not on my radar, and now all of a sudden I have two new opportunities within the last week or two. It all ties into this type of energy. So pay attention to the things that you've been offered, the things that have been discussed, the things that you have oddly been included in, because that's all contributing to this type of energy, or this energy's triggering it, I should say. So, some thoughts. What do you want to release? The new moon is tonight, April 8th. Are there things that you have been repressing that need to be brought into the light of day to clear out? If they are, bring them forward now. Let the devil's comet take them away. Aries is a time of new beginnings, burning off the stuff that's not working. But this is what we're doing right now, is this energy is sweeping us as a planet. What is it you want to get rid of? Let it go. This is a time to clear things out. Are there opportunities that you have been denying yourself? Are there opportunities that are coming forward for you that are challenging what you thought you were aiming for? This is a great time to be sorting some of this stuff out, clearing it out, and re-examining those bigger picture ideas that you've been working on. So, with that, let's do a short energy clearing, nothing too extravagant, before we hop into our tarot and oracle reading. So, I'll just get the old hands charged up here. And we're just going to bring in some crystal energy. We're going to allow it to clear our space, clear our minds. Take some deep breaths in. Push anything out that you are ready to release. Even if you're just seeing it as a color, you can inhale with white, exhale gray or black, freeing whatever is ready to be let go. And you can keep having that visualization. And we're going to bring in just a little bit of healing angel energy, a little bit of selenite. Clear our space. Bring us to a quiet mind. Allow us to tap into this beautiful energy, this spiritual cleansing. The amethyst crystal is helping us align to our higher selves, tapping into that universal divine heart, feeling peace and quiet, letting go of all that no longer serves you, releasing it to the tail of the devil's comet to be taken away, allowing yourself to heal. The solar eclipse is empowering you. It's empowering your dreams and your wishes. The new moon is calling you to set the intentions moving forward. What is it you are trying to grow? What is it you are trying to build? Work with these beautiful solar energies, these lunar energies, the enhancement of the clearing power of the comet. Allow yourself to breathe, receiving any message from God's source divine, your spirit guides, guardians, and angels, as we gently and peacefully look at some cards and tap into messages from God source divine energy. So we'll see where each of the elements are with a tarot card, and then we will look at two different oracle cards, which are areas to either pay attention to or things to examine in your life at this moment. It could be opportunities coming in, it could be a challenge, it could be a pattern that's being called to release. And this card literally leapt out of the deck for our fire family here. And we have number 20, Judgment. Fire is in the middle of some decision making. There's some things that are not adding up for fire. This is that balance. You're looking at things from both perspectives. You want to understand why this is happening. But the other aspect of judgment is, as you're examining your options, you are picking the best option. You are looking at things from a broader perspective. You are standing, as she is standing, above the decisions or the rabble, so to speak. So other people's opinions matter, but it's not their decision, it's your decision. So you can take their advice, but when you look at the picture, I mean, their advice may not be the greatest. That's why they're beneath you. So fire, where you're at right now is you're using your own discernment, you're using your own thought processes. It's time to really take stock of how you are doing, not what other people say about you. So, your first area of attention is the child of the cosmos. The intelligence of the universe lies within. This is really calling you, fire, to look inside. This could be something that you need to evaluate, but they're also saying that you possess the breath of God, the star of the universe. You are stardust in physical manifestation. This is calling you to examine your spiritual path, see what needs to be adjusted, what things need to be worked on. They're also saying, with the practice that you currently have, this is one of the aspects that you're working on, is taking it to a deeper level. This is really saying the areas that you are being brought to your attention is really your spirituality, the growth that comes with it, and taking it to the next level. But the guides are saying this is a time for self-examination of the spiritual practice and how it affects you and how you've come to where you're at. Were you the one that made the decision to take this path? Was it something that my family's been this is what I do? This is an area in which you can really examine and see what's working, what's not. Use your judgment in this time. The other area is number 26 in the Dragon's Path Oracle. Fire, allow God Source Divine, allow Gaia, allow your angels to work with you and heal. As you heal yourself, you heal those around you. You could be in the practice and action of being a healer, whether it's medical, nursing, Reiki, Shiatsu. The list can be unbelievably long. The energy of the second place to be aware of, to put your attention, to pay attention to, is in your healing. They're saying that this is not a time to worry so much about other people. The most powerful healer in the world knows how to heal themselves. And that is what is coming forward for the Fire family, is working with understanding your spiritual journey for one of the areas to be aware of. The other is to work on your healing. Fire wants to always take care of, take charge, do the big things. But you're being called to do the quiet things in this energy right now. So let's take a peek at our Earth family. What messages do we have? Where is Earth in this moment? Earth, gotta censor your card, is the Nine of Wands. This is the Nine of Fire. This is the Nine of Passion. You've almost achieved your goals as of right now, because this is you in the moment, where you are right now. So you're almost there. You're getting closer. You're starting to be like, success. It's mine. I'm almost there. But you have this voice, this little bit of self-doubt running around over here that's saying, are you sure about that? Do you really want this goal? Is this really what you're after? For Earth in this time, where you're at right now is you're almost there. You've almost achieved the things, at least one of the things you've been working on, but you're having a little bit of self-doubt. You're being called, this is before I even pull the cards, to release the self-doubt, or at least to examine why you have that doubt coming up. Is there something that needs to be adjusted? Your first area of interest is you're not alone. Isolation, physical connection, and community. You do not have to deal with the doubt on your own. The first area for you to pay attention to is connecting with others. Not anybody. The people who are in your inner circle. Deepen those friendships. Make the connections. But make sure that you have the right group. That doesn't mean chase people away. But sometimes you don't have to share with the people that are not ready or not willing to hear what you have to say. And this area is really about making the connection in the healthiest way, the most positive way, and working with a group that supports and cares about you as a person and the group as a whole. Because it's a community. I mean, you're not alone in anything that you're doing right now. It's time to remember that. Even though there's times you feel like you're going it alone, you're really not. And it could be a physical community, but they're also saying that the angels, guides, and guardians are always available. You can always call upon God Source Divine as well. So your second area is number 8, the Spirit Dragon of Spirit. This is looking inside again. In one aspect, you're looking outside, you're getting that support you need from others, but this dragon is calling you to connect with Spirit. It's not just about looking inside. That's part of it. But it's looking inside, and how do I elevate up? How do I connect? Notice the dragon is looking up. The dragon is looking to the divine, the face of the divine in the cosmos. How is that revealing itself to you in this energy? Where you're at right now, you're almost achieving some goals. There's a little bit of self-doubt, but you're being called to examine your inner circle, reminding yourself you're not alone. But you're also, the other area that you're working with, Earth, is working with Spirit. How do you connect? How do you see the divine? Maybe it's time to make a more personal connection to God Source Divine, whether it's through the divine, Spirit, God, Goddess, Lord, Lady, but making that connection more personal, more about the relationship between you and the divine. For me, I have a very unique way of looking at that, and it's came over years. I have built a relationship through that, and that's something that always can go deeper. That's the beauty of working with God Source Divine. So for our air, you are currently standing at the 10 of Pentacles. This is opposite energy for air. This is the 10 of coins, the 10 of earth. You have achieved a physical goal, but notice it doesn't make you happy. You're still looking for more. In this moment, air is, I've achieved things, some of my physical goals I've got, but it's not brought me any peace. It's not brought me the happiness that I'd hoped for. So air, don't lose heart is what is coming in. This is not just a one-off. Look, you made your goals, cool, but there's more. There's always a little bit more. There's always something to learn. There's something to build upon, and that's where you're at in this moment is, yes, you've achieved, but you're not done yet. That's the message that Source wants to bring in. So, your first area of interest is lost lands, soul memories, and gifts. You've done this before. This is calling you to connect to your ancestors, whether they're still living, your grandparents, either side, great aunts, great uncles. Maybe it's just that older friend of yours, of your grandparents or that you were raised with. But lost lands are the memories, the gifts, and the amazing stories that the older generations had. It could be tapping into your genetic bloodline through the causal chakra, looking at those who supported you and went before. Your ancestors, physical and spiritual, are here to connect with you. Air, the physical world's not quite doing it for you. You've achieved the goals, but it's not bringing you what you're after. The lost lands, as the first area, look to your history. This is not about the future. This is about your history. Check in with the past. What is it that is there that you can learn? What are the memories that can lead to these gifts, these talents, these little treasures that are being forgotten? But for air, that's an area to look into, is those forgotten treasures, those stories, and those histories going back. Your other area of interest is 22, serene. Air, find peace. You're not content with the physical that you have achieved. It's good. It's like, yay me. Got it. I'm on the way. But I don't feel right about it. It's not like it's not what I wanted now that I have it. This is calling you to look inside and find that balance, find that peace. Air is like a gentle breeze in this serene peace. It's that cool breeze in the middle of summer that just takes the edge off. It's that warm Chinook that comes in the spring, reminding you that winter's over. It's not being continual. Find that serene flow. It allows you to move with the cosmos, with the divine, with that powerful face that is coming in, looking at those memories, finding out that history. Find that gem that's tucked away. They're saying that there's one in particular that's going to make the air family very happy. But just look into your history in the past. Not usually something that I say when I do readings, but they're being really they're very emphasizing the past part. So let's take a peek at water real quick, and then we'll wrap this little video up. So water is the 5 of Pentacles. I'll have to edit that a little bit. 5 of Pentacles, 5 of Earth, 5 of Coins. Earth and water get along really well, but this is not in your best interests. Water, you've been dealing with some things. With Pentacles, Coins, you're dealing with the financial, maybe not been the greatest. But also you're dealing with some emotions. People have let you down. People have not been what you want. That is affecting you in a lot of ways, not just in the emotional connection to other people, but what they're showing me is this is definitely time to reassess. Where are you at? This is where you're at right now, is some questions. You have some things in the works, you have some things at play. It's not the greatest. You're feeling a little bit beat down, a little bit downtrodden, because things are just they're not lining up the way fanciful water would like them to be. But that's not to say that these things aren't there. The ocean hides secrets. The ocean's depths don't move quick. There's a powerful energy moving beneath the surface. The surface is not looking great for water in the moment. But there's something in the deep that's moving. It's rumbling. Don't give up just yet. Your first card, if I could get one that wasn't it's 3 together, because we're not reading 3 at a time, is called. Water, you're being called. The area to look at is, what is your true calling? What is it your heart and soul are calling you for? There's things moving in the deep. Yeah, the surface may not be the greatest in the moment, but the area to look to is, what are you being called to? What is it that is in your dreams? What is it that wakes you up with a smile? What is it that's been catching your attention lately? What are you being called to do? This is not a simple calling of, well, I think that'd be fun to work at that place. It's more of, I need to do this. I need this goal. I need this position. I need this knowledge, understanding. What is it that is being heavy on your mind, heart, and soul? What is it you're being called for? The first area to look into for you, water, is the thing that has been on your mind. What are you being called? What's calling you? And it could be something as simple as being called to plant a garden. It could be something as elaborate as starting a corporation, expanding what you already have tenfold. Not knowing how, but you know that's where you're headed. But what is it that you're being pulled towards? What is calling you? Your second card, water, is number 3, the transformation dragon. He comes out of his chrysalis, beautiful butterfly-like wings. What? Not even what. You are in the process of transformation. You are in the process of transmutation. Water, you are the alchemist. The area to pay attention to is, as things shift, as things grow, you're being called in one area. What are you transforming? What are you transmuting? Take the old, the dross, the lead, ew, it's cracked, it's flawed. Through transforming it, you're making it beautiful. You're transmuting it and healing it. The second area for water is about healing, growth, transformation. You're changing. They're really emphasizing this. You're changing from the gross little green caterpillar in a chrysalis. You are currently, the reason things aren't looking great is you're in a chrysalis. You're about to burst forth, water. Be ready for the change. Be ready for the transformation. In the moment, feel your emotions, process them through, but get ready, because it's just about to get interesting for you in a good way. So with that, I will let you guys go. Have a great rest of your evening. I hope the Eclipse and the Devil's Comet are treating you well. And with the new moon, set your intentions, take a peek at those areas of interest, and I will see you in the next video.